Conference USA was a country, it would be larger than Mexico and twice the size of South Africa. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football, back at it again. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things EA college football and watch plenty of college football content, subscribe to this channel right now. I also do some pro and Madden content as well. Basically anything related to football, just click subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Really appreciate it. Please do that. Subscriptions are free. You know that. All it's going to cost you is just being up to date on all those important things you love to be up to date on. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, guys, I have the next move in conference realignment. Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Alabama, Florida State, Florida have all left, and a couple others, to form their own new league. Okay, that's not going to happen. Now, and again, if you've watched my videos before, you know that ultimately I think that is going to happen down the road. I know that, we like to have our conference affiliated. Trust me, if the money is right, I would not be surprised if the top 16 markets and the top 16 brands in college football also just leave to form their own little situation. That's my personal opinion there. That being said, though, I want to make sure I talk about something else, because the next domino to fall in conference realignment is all the way down in the South, in the deep South, as some would say, in a place just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go to the report right now on who that is. So here we are on extrapointsmb.com with Extra Points with Matt Brown, what I think and what I know about Kennesaw State, Conference USA, and additional realignment. Good morning, and thanks for your continued support for Extra Points. We're still in a waiting period in regards to any of the realignment moves to the Big 10, Pac-12, or Big 12. Again, people always mention the Pac-12 and Big 12 because once the Big 12, if they take those four, Northwestern teams and then the Bay Area teams over to, from the Pac-12 over to the Big 10, then we're going to be in a situation where it's going to be all hell in a handbasket. But until that happens, we're saying right here that it looks like Kennesaw State and Conference USA have been talking. I've written several dispatches on how realignment train is still moving along at low, major, and D2 levels. Now, there may be some changes happening at the FBS level. On Friday afternoon, ESPN's Pete Thamel sharing the following report. Sources, Kennesaw State has emerged as the favorite to become Conference USA's 10th member. That addition is expected in the near future for Kennesaw to join effective 2024. Kennesaw State's athletic department did not respond to my request for comment on the report by press time. A Conference USA spokesperson declined to confirm either, only telling Extra Points that Kennesaw is a school of interest for league's expansion efforts. However, I can confirm there is mutual interest between Kennesaw State and Conference USA, and has been for some time. I can't confirm as of Monday that it is absolutely happening, but boy, howdy, is there a lot of smoke. Tomorrow, so for you guys today, right now, during the October board meeting of the University of Georgia's system, the board's Committee on Intercollegiate Athletics will review a request from Kennesaw State University to enter into a new agreement in its athletic conference affiliation. No additional agenda items are listed under this committee. The group will meet at 11 a.m. Eastern. My videos, they always post at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're seeing this just as it's coming out, man, you might be watching this thing right as this meeting is happening. For what it is worth, earlier this summer when I was hearing about mutual interest between Kennesaw and Conference USA, multiple industry sources told me that they believe the Georgia Board of Regents was unlikely to approve a Kennesaw reclassification effort. But somehow it appeared this has changed. Here's everything else I know, along with some of the things I think and the Owls potentially join Conference USA and what may happen next. Subscribe to Extra Points. I'm not going to subscribe. So if you want to, go in there, subscribe. It's a good article to start off here, but it brings up a couple things here we need to talk about. So here we are. This, if you see it, there's two boxes here. The top box is going to be the current members. The bottom box is going to be the future members. Now, the top box had a couple subtractions earlier this year. As you can see, you don't see Old Dominion, you don't see Southern Miss. They both have already left the conference. And again, we're going to come up and let you know why. Conference USA has really had some issues with conference realignment, man. They're the one, a lot of people are talking about, the Pac-12 is going to die. The most at risk of dying is probably Conference USA. I think they'll still make it. But, man, you look at this, first of all, UAB, FAU, UNC Charlotte, North Texas, Rice, and UTSA are all leaving eventually. Remember, I already said that Marshall, and I already said that Old Dominion, and I already said that our dear friends Southern Miss are already leaving too. So, gosh, that is That's a lot of people remembering, or a lot of people leaving. You see FIU, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee State, Western Kentucky, and UTEP are all there. Now they are adding Jacksonville State, Liberty, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston State. Let's go to the map to check that out. So right here, the white is Conference USA, and then the lightish green, or like kind of like that weird green, is going to be independent. So you see, like, this is Notre Dame, this is Liberty, this is our dear friends New Mexico State. So what's happening here is that all of these are all leaving. These three are leaving. This one is staying. This is Louisiana Tech. This is Southern Miss. They're gone. UAB, they're gone. These two are staying. This one's gone. This one's gone, and one of these ones is gone. So realistically, all they really have, and this one's gone too. So all they really have is they have Virginia or Liberty, then they have FIU, and then they have they don't have Southern Miss, then they have Louisiana Tech, and then they have UTEP, and then they have New Mexico State. Now they are also adding Sam Houston State. They are adding Jacksonville State, which is over here in Alabama, and then they're also going to be adding, and like I said, they're also going to be adding Liberty here. Now that puts them at 9 members. Now they're going to add somebody out here. So Kennesaw State is just outside of Atlanta over here, so that puts them at 10. Again, they are still pretty spread out. We're going to go into an article that kind of highlights how spread out they are, but at least it gives them a little bit more of a solid stance, in conference realignment. So that's what's happening right now. Again, there's no news on the Pac-12, there's no news on the Big 12, but it looks like Conference USA is trying to solidify their case. So in this instance, they currently have 9 conference members. The number of teams requirement has been removed from conferences, so it's not like you can have a conference championship and only have 8 or 9 members or something like that. You don't have to have 10, you don't have to have 11, you don't have to have 12. You don't have to worry about anything like that. But you can see the fact that they are thinking something, they're doing something that's very, very unique in this situation. It's not unique, but it's a smart move. They're thinking strategically, okay? Who's the rising star? What's going to broaden out what's going to give us a more solid, geography for us to work with? What's a good market? Is it easy to get to Kennesaw State? It's only about a half an hour outside of Atlanta. Everywhere in Conference USA, I'm pretty sure flies direct to Atlanta. So it's going to be really easy for them to integrate into the conference. And again, you have to remember New Mexico State is right next to UTEP, so it's going to be pretty easy for that too. So they're definitely thinking about kind of solidifying that situation here. When looking through conference realignment, there's a couple different things. You have to make sure academics are good enough. You have to make sure athletics are good enough. You have to make sure that it fits reasonably geographically. Again, the bigger the market, and I should say the bigger the market, but the bigger the brand, the easier it is to go. I think that, Nebraska can go to any conference they want to. Nebraska can go to the end of the SEC if they really wanted to. But Kennesaw State, they look like they're fitting in just fine with them. Now, I want to make sure we can look at their stadium because their stadium is kind of in a unique situation and would be a unique situation if they were to join Conference USA. So here we are on their Wikipedia page, Fifth Third Bank Stadium. So the interesting thing about this, it actually has a pretty cool look to it. We're going to look at it here in a second here. But you can see the capacity is 8318. That's a little small. So here we are on a list of NCAA Division I FBS football stadiums and their capacity. I sorted it that way. And we see the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. It's not even really a stadium. Everything else here is a stadium. It's more like a place that they play football and other sports like that. It's not really a stadium out there, but it can house at least 10,000 people. So that means that Kennesaw State would have the smallest FBS stadium in the country if they were to join. That doesn't mean it's not cool. It has the opportunity to grow. Check it out right here. So here's a couple pictures here. You can see the fact that, it's a definitely an intimate setting. There's not a bad seat in the house, but that's because there's not very many seats. But you can see the fact that there's plenty of opportunity to build things up over here. You can add extra rows over here. You can have extra rows over here. You can do something down here with this south end zone. I'm not sure if that's south end zone or not, but this bottom end zone over here. So yeah, you can definitely tell that they can expand if they need to. Whether or not they're going to, I don't know. But if they were to join right now, they would be the smallest stadium in FBS football. And I'm telling you right now, the big issue with Conference USA is, and again, this goes back a couple years. So this is December 31st, 2020. So this is before the last season began, or at the end of the 2020 season in terms of, this is the COVID year. So this article really breaks it down like what the issue is with Conference USA, because at one time it was flying high and then they lost a zillion members. And now they're having to call up Kennesaw State, a team I wasn't even sure was, an FCS team. And now they're being called up. Let's check and see what they have to say here. Look, we all had a rough year this year, but a few of us had it as bad as Conference USA did in 2020. The beleaguered league just wrapped up a bowl season where they went winless in postseason play, which was sadly unsurprising given the performance in the regular season. So that basically talks about how everybody lost here. There was lots of conference losses and this and that. They just had a really, really big issue. But you can see what's the issue with Conference USA is the fact that they break down poor expansion choices. 2013 was the start of Conference USA's decline. The majority of the league jumped ship to kickstart the American Athletic Conference, joining forces with several former Big East programs. This led to the departure of household names such as Memphis, Houston, SMU, UCF, a loss which the conference may never recover from. With 7 programs on the way out, former Conference USA Commissioner Britton Banowski had his hands full with rebuilding the conference's roster. In a controversial move, Banowski was laser focused on adding programs situated in major television markets. Does that sound familiar to anybody else there? Kevin Warren, Bob Bowlesby, no, not Bob Bowlesby, the Mike Aresco with the American Athletic Association or, conference. So, man, you see the fact that that's what they wanted to do here. So it says here that they were laser focused on adding programs situated in major television markets, extending affiliation invitations to programs that had limited or zero sustained success on the football field. As Power 5 conferences saw their TV contract payouts explode, Conference USA banked on the hope that boasting a large reach of television sets in major markets would give the conference a larger piece of TV money pie. While there was logic to Manowski's decision-making, time has proven that strategy was utterly naive. And again, you look at Mike Aresco and AAC, whether or not that could be kind of a situation for them too. Television executives were well aware that FIU commanded very little of Miami sports world attention. Many of the additions, such as Middle Tennessee State and North Texas, could barely claim their inclusion in nearby major media markets. North Texas has even left Conference USA at this point too. The dream of a massive television payout turned into a joke, while programs that the Conference USA overlooked went on to become juggernaut programs. Let's do a quick record comparison of the teams Conference USA brought in during the most recent realignment versus the teams that were left out. Listed are the teams' records since 2013 or 2014, where appropriate, as well as a winning percentage over that time. So they added Charlotte, FIU, Louisiana Tech, North Texas, UTSA, Old Dominion, FAU, Mid-Tennessee State, and Western Kentucky, who, and it says the asterisk down here, has been ranked to the AP poll in the last 7 seasons. So it says we have one dot down here. The alternate candidates: Appalachian State, UL Lafayette, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, Troy, Arkansas State, and James Madison. So you see the fact that James Madison, and they have just been added up in Division II, Arkansas State, then we see Troy, ranked team, Coastal Carolina, ranked team, Louisiana, ranked team, Appalachian State, ranked team. Because Appalachian State out there in, the hills of North Carolina, they're a pretty good program, but they wanted to add these big markets. Charlotte, Miami, Louisiana Tech's not really close to New Orleans, Dallas, San Antonio, Old Dominion's close to, Virginia Beach, FAU's Miami, Mid-Tennessee State, and Western Kentucky are kind of close to that Nashville region. But again, these teams that are down here, they didn't add them, and they could have. Also talks about the disastrous TV contract. And again, it's really, really interesting to see a couple of things here because they talk about, poor coaching hires, and then actually really the big aspect they wanted to break down was the geographic sprawl and lack of brand association. Conference USA is big, like laughably big. Stretching from El Paso to Norfolk to Huntington to Miami, Conference USA covers an eye-popping 97,000 square miles, 970,000 square miles, excuse me. If Conference USA was a country, it would be larger than Mexico and twice the size of South Africa. This type of sprawl has had a few negative impacts on the conference. High travel cost, geographical distance creates a social distance from the league's members. Since the average sports fan can't estimate what schools are in the conference thanks to its massive geographic footprint, Conference USA has very little brand recognition at the individual school level. I'm willing to bet 99% of college football fans and high school football recruits wouldn't be able to guess more than 8 of the conference's 14 members if asked to do so. So we see a couple commonalities there between what Conference USA has done, what the AAC does done, what Kevin Warren is doing. I do think though that things get different when you're talking about Washington and Stanford and Cal and this and that. I think that that's a little bit different than FIU, Kennesaw State, and this and that. So we'll see if this works out for Conference USA. It is the next box to kind of formulate itself the next checkbox in conference realignment. And these lower conferences have to do this because the lower conferences know when the upper conferences get hungry, they get pillaged first. Adding Kennesaw State, not going to move the needle, but what it's going to do is re-solidify that themselves, in terms of they can handle another defection of teams. I also think I want to know what the limit is. Are we just going to have everybody just keep on going up and going up and going up in terms of conference realignment to the point to where the FCS is now the FBS? That might happen. But I do think that, again, there's certain requirements for the FBS programs as opposed to FCS programs. So I don't know, man. I think there will be a limit to this. And once the conference, again, make sure we know this. The conference realignment ultimately comes down to whether or not you can protect the group of your teams and get them the most money. Adding too many FCS programs that don't bring money, that would hurt you. Kennesaw State outside of Atlanta. So it's going to integrate pretty easily in a lot of different ways. A little small of a stadium and not really sure how much Kennesaw State commands the Georgia market. There's a couple college football teams there already. But man, that's the next move in conference realignment right now. Let me know what you guys think. And again, let me know, do you like the strategy Conference USA has done? Do you think that it's going to hurt Mike Oresco in the AAC? Do you think it's going to hurt Kevin Warren in the Big Ten? Get in the comments right now and let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. I am out.